Hello everyone and welcome back to Rag Plays Crusader Kings II Monks and Mystics on the Penitenziagite campaign. Alright, so last we left off, we had just conquered Saluzzo from our kinsmen, and we find ourselves in a bit of a crisis. Count of Monferrat is not having the best of days, because if we switch over to the epidemics map mode, you can see that the slow fever is progressing through Italy quite fast, and we are next up. We're the anvil and it is the hammer, and we're about to get slammed by that. Time is of the essence. We are old, and we are liable to catch a draft because we are so old, and we will probably die if we don't sort this problem out right now. In case I need to remind you, if we die, since our title, our crown law is Agnota Cagnata Gavelkind, that means that the land that we just earned will be split between my firstborn son, who will gain Monferrat, and his son, my grandson, who will get Saluzzo. That's very bad. We don't want that to happen, because his son, who will then be my son, since I will become him, will go independent, and I'll have no control over that land again. It'll be like we never gained this. We can't allow that to happen. So, I need to fix this problem. And I've thought hard about it. I'm like, how do I get this done quick enough? Because we do not have the money to bribe that one courtier, the one guy who's displeased with us right now on our council, I think it is. Let me just see. We need to switch over to Elective Monarchy so I can keep the realm intact. But since there's one person in our realm, one of our vassals, switch to vassals, he's not happy with us. He's minus 11 opinion, and to bribe him by sending him a gift, it would cost us 33.4 ducats. What I'm doing to access this is I'm right-clicking on his portrait, and it gives me the options to engage in diplomacy with a particular character. That works on the level of country. I can do that with anyone in the game. So the Holy Roman Emperor, I can convert to the German culture if I wanted to here, and try and switch my countries to German, which might not be a bad idea in the future. I'm not sure I want to stay Italian if I'm going to be working my way up into this region here, into the Alps more. So, so what to do? What to do? We have some prisoners. We have our kinswoman is a prisoner. That's not cool. No, we're gonna release her from prison. Poor little girl, and this small girl here, again, I think she should be released as well. I'm not going to keep children in prison. Get out of my prison. So, how do we solve this problem? I've come to the conclusion that we're probably going to need to borrow money from the Jews. Try to avoid this. Try to avoid pissing off the church, but consequently, would that piss off our bishop? Would that cause him to hate us to the point where he wouldn't? No, he would still be in the positive, so it's okay that we do that. So I'm going to do that. Time is of the essence. The slow fever is about to hit us, and our character's old, and he might die because of this if we're not careful. So, yeah. So we will take... Count of Monferrat owes 350 ducats to the Jewish moneylenders, giving the following effects. Temple vassal opinion, minus 10, but we gain 300 ducats up front. So there we go. Now we have some important decisions. First thing I'm going to do... I'm going to try and pass the law, I think, first. I have to bribe the courtier before I can do that. So I'm going to buy a favor. No, I'm not going to buy a favor. I'm going to send a gift. That will make him like us by 13, and that should allow us to change the law. So switching to Elective Monarchy. And there we go. Now I will choose to nominate, so I'm voting now. I'm going to vote for my primary son, and since we're the only person who holds land, it's the only vote that matters is ours, and we'll get our way in that regard. Since we have extra money, we could totally create the Duchy of Susa right now, and I think we should probably do that. It's a worthy use of our funds, and it will give us a free claim on Piemonte. So it was kind of a mistake that I sent my Chancellor here to fabricate, because we're not going to need that. It's becoming the de jure Duke of this area will give us a free claim on Piemonte, because it should belong to us, so we will be able to go to war over it. As we recall, if we look at the Duke of Savoy, switch back to vassals. Savoy, it's hard to see because everything around here is Burgundy because it's in Burgundy. Savoy owns this and this, personally. So, I'll see if I can switch that to these two things. He owns 2 counties and the Duchy of Savoy. And he has, what, a total of 1.83k troops. We don't have quite as many as him, but we need to raise our max levy up to a certain amount, and I'm going to create the Duchy of Susa. And we're also going to change colors because of this. We're going to be a nice, pretty pink. We're going to gain 200 prestige, but we're going to lose 194 ducats. That's okay. Let's do that. So we are now the Duke. Duke Adone of Susa. Fantastic. We want a haircut because this looks awful. Switch to something a little bit more medieval looking, I think. I tend to like this one. That's a very Middle Ages type haircut. We have lots of stuff we can do. We need to nominate our son again because it turned itself off. So the Duchy of Susa has gained some new laws. We are agnatic, cognatic, elective. That is perfect for our inheritance laws. We could go up with our centralization. We can actually change a law right now. And I'm not sure which one we're going to want to do first. We have to base it on centralization, like who's supporting it. We actually can see who's supporting the increase in centralization. Everybody is. That would be good for us to do. Domain size +1, vassal limit +5 instead of minimum. We don't really need any more domain limit right now, though. Just now. We could go to revoke title, and we have 4 supporters there. Basically, to pass a law that is based on a vote, you have to have a majority of voters voting in your direction. So if there's 4 supporters, that law passes no matter what. And to switch to late feudal administration, most everybody opposes that, so that won't be the one that we're doing. We could change some tax laws, I'm not too worried about that. Or we could change an imprisonment law, and just about everyone is against that still. So I think it's more important to go to our realm law and either pick centralization or revoke title. And I think revocation might be a little bit more useful at the moment, so I'm going to pick that. We can send this before the council consideration to see what they would vote, but we know what they're going to vote because we can just hover over it here. There are 4 supporters, they're going to vote yes. Let's do that. So it'll take them a brief amount of time. It shows the vote right here. We get 1 vote as well, so we always have a positive vote. We'll see how it goes. 2 votes yes, 0 votes no, 4 votes none decided yet, but they should decide within a short period of time. Come on. You know you wanna. There we go. The Lords of Susa have approved the institution of the title revocation allowed law. Good. Right. So we have a bunch of new pop-ups here that we need to take care of right now. We have vassal levies raised too long. That's because we just went to war. This is going to tick down over time. Nothing to worry about. We have the possibility to shut the gates because we have a plague sweeping in close to us. We may do that as soon as we see Monferrat or Saluzzo get see slow fever spread there. There's also a couple other epidemics here. The measles are going through here, and we have camp fever over in the Byzantine Empire. More slow fever here, more camp fever in Arabia. A little bit of slow fever over here in Navarra. So now that we've changed a law, we're not going to be able to change a law until the 17th of August, 1073, so another 5 years. But that's okay. So we can't do anything else. Another alert here that says we have unlanded sons. We could give our son this county, but I tend to just ignore that myself. I don't know why you're outraged by the succession law changed, man. You're the only one who's going to inherit. You should love me because I just decided you are going to be the one who inherits everything. And for as long as I own everything within this duchy, I can decide whoever I want to inherit. I can press de jure ducal claims. So like I just said, because we have created the Duchy of Susa, which de jure consists of all of this, we get a free claim on Piemonte because it should belong to us, but it's owned by Savoy right now. So that's just letting us know that we can do that. We have special minor titles that are grantable. We get, because we're a duke, we get double the amount of commanders we had as a count. So we can put 2 more people in there to help us out with armies. And we're just going to put probably the guys we had before that we fired for some reason or other. They're back in the situation. Now that we have more counselors, or we should have more counselors available for us to choose, we might consider switching to someone or some people who are a little bit more qualified for their jobs. But I think we already did that last episode, so maybe not. Yeah, indeed, we already have good enough people for our purposes. And that's it. Let's go ahead and unpause. See what happens next. Right now, currently, we are trying to get the levy back up in Saluzzo to replenish it. We have important decisions available. We could go on a grand hunt by spending money, but we need to try and repay the Jews quickly, or save up for other things that are more important than that. It's not super important for us right now. Also, just get rid of the Jews if we banish them. But we actually can't do that until we're a higher rank than Duke, so never mind. How's the fever looking? Doesn't seem to be spreading any further west, so that's good. Maybe it won't spread to us. Maybe we might get lucky. We are really getting old, though. We're 61 years old. I think now is a perfect time to try out the focus of this entire DLC, the new DLC. I'm going to go ahead and join one of these holy orders, because I don't think we're going to have any more kids being as old as we are, and we do have 2 sons. And they have wives, and one of them already has a son, so we're all set for inheritance. And, you know, maybe he'll put a bun in the oven if we're lucky, and expand the dynasty. So let's join the Benedictine Order. I'm going to join the Society of the Benedictines. God's blessings upon thee, Ducadone. We are delighted by your decision to join our ranks as a lay member. Together we shall strive for betterment of ourselves and our fellow Catholics by following the rule of Saint Benedict. Go with God, signed Conversius Adelbert. It's a great honor, Conversius. We lose 14 ducats by joining, but we are now a member of the society, and we've adopted a tonsure as our haircut. We look kind of nerdy, but oh well. Now, we can actually see some of the benefits we get here. As of right now, we gain monthly piety 0.05 extra by being a donatus, and we lose minus 15% fertility, so we're less likely to have kids while we're part of a monastic order. Over time, and we're going to be gaining devotion at a certain rate. This is going to help us skill up in time. Because we are humble, we get +1 extra per month. Because our stewardship is good, we get plus 5.5. The more of the 7 virtues that we have, the more of that we get. Because obviously, because we're a Christian, we want to be a good Christian who has all of the proper traits. It looks like we have a faction that formed here in the Holy Roman Empire. The Duke Conrad of what looks like Bohemia wants to put himself on the throne of the Holy Roman Empire, and right now he has 21.2% of the liege's strength. What the hell is the Holy Roman Emperor doing right now? The faction is probably formed because the Holy Roman Emperor is at war with France still, and it looks like the war against France isn't going amazingly. It's 17% in the favor of the Holy Roman Emperor, so he is winning, but it's going a lot longer than it should be. The HRE is just, it's got its main army up in Zealand just occupying the war goal, which is the safe bet, but if it was me, I'd probably take it and smash the French army there, smash this one and smash this one. That would put us up to about 40%, then let the ticking war score do the rest. Meanwhile, because the HRE is at war, and because of other reasons, looks like the Holy Roman Empire has some rebels right now, two groups of rebels. One in Lausitz, a Slavic uprising. That's a religious unrest event, because this county is still Slavic and not Christian. If we switch over to the religion map mode, it's being converted to Christian right now. But because it's being converted to Christian, it has a lot of religious unrest, and it's still a different religion. So rebels have rose up there to try and take control of that province and probably break free or switch it back to Slavic, or switch the ruler to Slavic, something like that, whatever their demands are. We have another group of rebels here, and this is the Army of Adam. I have no idea what these people want. Oh, this is a peasant revolt. So, the Holy Roman Emperor has pissed off the peasants in his capital, and they've risen up with a stack of 4,389 men. They're sieging the capital of the Holy Roman Empire. That might seem like a bad thing. Generally speaking, when you have an 11 stack, you don't have to worry too much about peasants, because if you look at the peasant composition right here, you'll see that most of it, 3,000... It's a mixture of light infantry and archers, and if you look at the Holy Roman Emperor, who's now reacting, he's got about 14,000 men total just in this area. Most of his army is heavy infantry and pikemen, and heavy cav too as well, so all of those are much better than light infantry. So if he wanted, he'd take that and go over here and smash that really, really easily, and same goes for this. It's also light infantry. Most rebels, they do not have good troop compositions. They're mainly light infantry and archers, unless it's specific types of rebels, like noble rebels or things like that. If it's a rebellion that's triggered by a faction, then it'll consist of all the people who join the faction. So we might see that happen in this playthrough. I don't know. What were we doing? We were waiting for our society to gain devotion over time, which is our currency for this. And as we gain devotion, we can do things with it, and we might get missions. Our conversus will send us missions to perform in the name of God and for the glory of God, and by completing the missions we gain devotion. The more devotion we get, we can scale up in our by pushing this button that will become available. We'll go to the next rank, so we'll go from Donatus to Oblatus whenever we have enough. For now, we just sit and twiddle our thumbs and keep an eye on that epidemic that's sweeping through here. Our marshal has initiated a massive recruitment drive in Saluzzo. That's good. That means our levy will begin to come back a lot faster. Pope Alexander has just died. He probably died of slow fever. Let's check that. Yep. He died... No, actually, he died of the measles, but there are no measles there. So a new pope was just elected. Pope Marinus III, who is 68 years old, so he won't be living long either. Usually the popes are very old when they're elected. The older they are, the more venerable. The Catholic bishops tend to approve of that more, because the older you are, the wiser you are in the Middle Ages. So we just have a random event here. A group of hedge knights have come to visit Susa. Switch back over to direct vassal, so Susa, all this area. Our Dizone has met with them and asks for my reply. We can gain 10 prestige, and we gain the trait Gregarious. Gregarious gives us +2 diplomacy, +5 attraction opinion, +5 vassal opinion, and same trait opinion +5 for the cost of 10 ducats. That's really good. Whenever you see the option to get a trait in the game that's a good trait, you should take it always. Even if you have to go into debt for it temporarily, debt goes away relatively quick, so even if we didn't have the money for this, I would probably take it and just opt into the debt. We could welcome them reluctantly, gain 1 prestige, and lose 2.92 gold. That's not as good, or refuse them access and piss off everybody. That's ridiculous. We're going to pay the money and get a trait. So we just became gregarious, our diplomacy went up, means people will like us better, and all of our vassal opinion, our same trait opinion, and women will like us better. It's just great. Great trait to have is gregarious. Our character's already improving substantially. The Hedge Knights have participated in a minor tournament together with our knights in Monferrato, and sadly one of those landless vagabonds has been severely injured. So, pay for some medication and send them on their way. We can lose 3.21 gold and gain 5 piety, or we can allow them to stay in the castle while he recovers. Well, we have more prestige than we do money, so we're going to pick to spend prestige to gain piety. Since either way we're spending something to gain piety, we're going to spend the prestige because we can afford to do that easier. than by, since we are in debt technically to the Jews, and we'd like to pay that loan off eventually. More important decisions are available. That is probably what? A summer fair has just become available to do. Ah, wait a minute. I hear flies. The slow fever is not here yet. We're getting very lucky that it's not advancing any further this way, so... Hey, my wife is pregnant. Even though I'm a monk, and even though I had a fertility debuff, the lustful trait, hers and mine, offset that, so I got another child on the way. Awesome. We gained 5 prestige for that, so we just spent that prestige, we just earned it right back because our wife is pregnant. Epidemics. There are 7 world epidemics right now. It was actually, this is a double whammy. This is, even though it's not showing it on the map, there's actually measles here as well. There were measles that originated in Padua, and Padua is... Where the hell is Padua? I don't remember. Somewhere in Italy. Let's find it with the title finder. Down here, at this button here. And type in Padua. And go to... Padua is up here. Even though that typhoid, it's listing it as slow fever here. Even though it's listed as slow fever, there's also measles under this, so it's even worse. That's why the Pope died of measles and not slow fever. So, how's our levy looking? We got 1385 men. How is Savoy's levy looking? More importantly, 1.75k. We're not gaining as fast as he is. In fact, what I'm going to do, now that I'm thinking about it, we need to move our Chancellor. We no longer need a claim in Saluzzo, and we don't need one in Piedmont, so we're going to want to snag something else in the next war, so I'm going to move him to begin fabricating claims on Savoy. I want to go in this direction. I want mountains in my realm, if I can help it. Because mountains give us defensive bonuses. The more we have that belong to us, the better equipped we will to protect from attacks against other people, or from other people. Meanwhile, we are scheming currently in Monferrat, but I think I'm going to switch our focus to sabotage. And we're going to send him to Savoy to begin sabotaging the province and sabotaging the Duke's efforts. Maybe that will cause his levy to go down. I don't know. I've never used it before. We'll have to see. Kaiser Heinrich of the Holy Roman Empire set up Pope Wilhelm as an anti-pope. Pope Sergius, named Pope Sergius V. So this is interesting. The Holy Roman Empire, right now, particularly the Holy Roman Empire, he is not in good favor with the Pope. And this happened historically in real history. The Holy Roman Empire and the papacy, the Mother Church, often fought in the Middle Ages. They were at each other's throats because the papacy usually favored France in those days. And oftentimes the popes would be French or Italian, and they tended to look more kindly upon the French. They would also, it had a lot to do with the investiture thing. You remember when I talked about the College of Cardinals here, and where the hell was it? The law that where was that? That's right. So the appointing of successors. In those days, the Holy Roman Empire and the Holy Roman Emperor liked the ability to appoint his own bishops, because if he appoints his own bishops, that means they're going to be more loyal to him because he gave them the power and not the Pope. So, in matters of the faith, when everybody who is a bishop has a say, that means they would be less likely to support the Pope, and whatever the Holy Roman Emperor was like, what he wanted done, what he felt needed to be done in matters of faith, they were more inclined because he appointed them to vote his way instead of the Pope's way. So the Pope doesn't like that. He doesn't like the idea of bishops being appointed by secular rulers like kings and dukes. And that's often why the Holy Roman Empire and the papacy fought a lot in the Middle Ages. And that was also sort of like the pretext for the Holy Roman Empire favoring the Franciscan order, which sadly, and I'm very disappointed with, is not one of the available holy orders for us to join. Ideally, I would have the Benedictines, the Dominicans, the Hermetics, the Lucifer's Own, but under the Dominicans, or before them, I would have the Franciscan order, because they're very important in the Middle Ages, and they had a lot to do with heresy, and they preached poverty. They believed in the sort of idea that the church should not be rich, that you should give up wealth if you're a man of the cloth. So obviously, if they supported that, then the Holy Roman Emperor was in their favor, because their way of thinking is give to Caesar what is Caesar's, the same way that Christ thought. But the Benedictines, on the other hand, the Benedictine order believes that to best worship God, you have to be self-sustaining. You can't live. Well, you can live off the charity of others. It's not that they condemn the Franciscans or anything, but they are self-sufficient. They believe that the church should hold property. They believe that the church should hold wealth for the glorification of God and such things. That it's best to reflect the beauty in art and in keeping knowledge and things like that. So Dominicans are a different batch. They're inquisitors, basically. I don't know the full extent of their thing, but that's the basic gist of it. Is the Holy Roman Empire often favored the Franciscans, just on the basis that they would prefer that the church did not collect worldly possessions and monetary gain. So that's thumbs up from the Holy Roman Emperor, because he wants all the money. So he would support their cause over the Benedictines or over anybody else. But generally, I think the Benedictines were mostly neutral party in that affair. It would be some of the other orders, or particularly the papacy and the city bishops, that would be against the Franciscans in their way of thinking. Very close to the Franciscans being declared as a heresy by the Pope in those days. And that would have been so cool if we could have took advantage of that. That was quite a long rant over something that didn't have anything to do with the game. I hope you found that interesting, though. I might be bungling the history just a little bit, but oh my goodness, we just got another claim. my liege, my work in Savoy seems to come to fruition. By bribing, cajoling, extorting, threatening, and forging documents, I've managed to fabricate a claim in the county of Savoy held by the Peer of Savoy. I'm not entirely sure I want to take this right now, but I'm going to, I think. Yep, we'll do that. And now we have a claim here, the strong claim on the county of Savoy. And this claim will not be inherited unless it's pressed in war. So if we die right now, we lose this claim. Unless we declared war over it, then it passes to our son, and he could potentially press the claim as well. But that's a temporary claim that goes away on our death. So if we don't go to war over Savoy before we die, that claim goes away, and we'll have to try and fabricate one all over again. Since we've taken care of that, I can't move my Chancellor to assign him a new job until the 2nd of February 1070, which is in a couple of months. I'm going to move him to Valais and try and snag this province. Valais is actually a prince-bishopric in the Holy Roman Empire, so the church-level vassal is on top. He actually owns the county, which kind of sucks, but you see, as we're a barony, we own... This is a county, but this is a prince-bishopric, but we might be able to snag that bishopric, that barony, and put it to the top and move the church back down if we play our cards right. So I'm going to go for Valais. And after Valais, if we manage to get a claim on that, I will go for Geneva here, which is all part of the duchy, the de jure duchy of Savoy. So if I can get both the county of Piedmont and Savoy under my belt, that's what I want to do, because I want to eventually become Savoy. Alright, so how is the disease treating us right now? Still drifting our way, but it seems to be holding its ground, so that's good. How is the war with the Holy Roman Emperor going? Looks like France is back to sitting on the war goal and resieging it back down. What is the HRE doing? He must have went over to the east to take care of all the rebels, and he's re-raising his troops and remustering. He'll probably go over and smash France pretty soon and win this war. It's already 80% in favor of the Holy Roman Emperor, so the ticking war score is killing Philip of France, and it'll probably be over before he can snag this back. If we take a look at this, yeah, he's sieging at a very slow rate. It'll be over by the time he makes any progress with that. And we just had a great niece, by the looks of it, since our nephew just had a daughter, named Yosella, and she is club-footed. That's too bad. That is a genetic trait that she's inherited from somewhere. It's a bad genetic trait because it's purple. It gives it minuses to her abilities. So -1 martial, -1 personal combat skill, -10 attraction penalty, and same trait opinion +5. So any other club-footed people will like her better, but yeah, that's fine. That can be her name. I should have switched her to stewardship focus. I can still do that, I guess. Our nephew. I'm starting to think Antonia might fancy me, my courtier. Ooh. We can go and sleep with her, but we are a man of God. We are not going to do that. She's not my type. We'll lose 5 prestige. A message about appointment to commander has been received from Heinrich Salian. So the Holy Roman Emperor wants to make us a commander in his army. There are many reasons why you might want to do this, or why you might not want to do this, but one of them is because you'd become a commander. If we look at minor titles, you can see that the commander position gives a little bit of extra money and a little bit of extra prestige. So I could hit accept, but the detriment to that, even though we're being paid a sum of money to do something for him, would be that every time we go into combat, which he would appoint us to, because we're pretty good at combat, we're decent, we've got some good traits, we've got a decent martial ability, every time we do that we have a chance of dying, because we are in a battle, we are leading troops on the field, so I'm going to decline this. I don't want to die just yet, because this character has claims, and I have more than I want to do with him, so it's not worth the prestige and the extra money for me right now. Always good to take a look at the options. We have the option to hold a feast right now because it is the month of December. We can have Christmas. We're not going to do that. It's too expensive. We owe money, and we also need to save up a war chest so that we can afford to go to war with Savoy and keep our troops paid for as long as possible. Ah, here's our first mission from the Donatus, the head of our society, the Benedictines. It has been brought to my attention that you are perhaps not spending the appropriate effort on matters of theology. We would like to encourage you to set aside your worldly worries and focus on matters of a divine nature. If we accept this, we have to pick the theology focus, and once we do that, so you remember character focus, what he wants us to do is become a man of the cloth. He wants us to give up our warrior ways and go and become a man of the church. And I really do want to do this. It's just that it's the problem of the fact we have this claim, the fact that we're raising troops to be able to attack Savoy right now, specifically in the intention of war. If I switch over to theology, I'm still getting the health bonus, so that won't change, but I'm losing martial because of that. That kind of sucks, because that means I'll have less overall men to be able to attack this guy with when the time comes. So for now, I'm going to decline. We're not that godly just yet. Maybe in time. Moral authority of the Catholic Church is very bad right now, and that would be because we have an anti-pope right now. The Holy Roman Empire said to the Pope down here, he said, "You are a false Pope. You are not the real one, and this one is the real one that he chose." Pope Sergius V, who is one of the Holy Roman bishops, probably. Yeah, he's the bishop of Aquileia, which is part of the Holy Roman Empire. That's why he set him up. The Lords of the Holy Roman Empire have just approved the institution of the late feudal administration law. That's fine. A son was born to us, to Duke Adone of Susa, and Duchess Gaeta of Susa, named Omero. What's he like, our young boy here? He's just a regular old baby. He's got some prestige. Omero's a fine name. We're going to switch him over to the struggle focus right away. Young Adone has finished his education in the ways of faith and learning. It turned out less well than I expected. He became a detached priest. Well, that's too bad. Not a very good character at all. Very garbage. Oh well, that's what he is. He might improve himself over time. Young Otone is full of energy, and that's the same kid that just came of age. We just had an event to switch one of his childhood traits, which look like these, over to a real trait. Young Otone is full of energy and a will to get things done. He should use that power for good. We could turn him to become just, try and get rid of arbitrary off of him, or we could give him the diligent trait. Arbitrary does what? I think we'll try and switch him to... We'll switch him to just. He did not gain just, but he gained diligent anyway, so he's got fairly awful stats. We're going to get him married, just so our line keeps propagating itself. We're going to go to the character finder. We're going to load the filter of 0, which we had set up to find women who are not married and so forth. And here's a 17-year-old Occitan girl. Perfect. We will give her to... You know what? I actually want this one to reproduce more. So we'll give the 19-year-old to that guy. There we go. Each of them have a wife. De jure ducal claims are still available. Is our truce? We don't have a truce with him. He has 1.76k troops, and we have, what, 1.6k troops right now, but it's going up slowly. Saluzzo is starting to come back, so we just gotta play the waiting game. I do think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and next time, hopefully, we'll be able to go to war over Piemonte, and maybe we'll get a different mission from the Conversus to give us something that we can increase our devotion with that's a little more feasible right now for a man who still can't quite let go of his sinful ways and give up the war path, since he rightfully desires Piemonte. That should be his land, but it's not. But anyway, I will see you next time.